Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah,
We got it! We got
New 52 book.
somebody clip this one.
Welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I am Jared. I'm here with Taladia Plays. What's up, brother?
Woo! I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to talk about crazy ass ninja. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually really good. So today we're talking about Batman Ninja, which, all right, this basically stands as one of the most nuts Batman movies I have ever seen. And it's really it's odd because here's the thing about it. So this is about as anime as you can make Batman, but the problem is sometimes it gets a little too anime. So it's very, very interesting. What do you think?
Like, sorry.
It's all good.
Like this film was like definitely felt anime, but fun fact for you guys, Roger Craig Smith was the voice for Batman in this
Oh
animated
yeah,
film.
Arkham Origins.
Arkham Origins Batman, yes. He's the voice of Batman in this film, which is awesome.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if they try and say that this is canon to the Arkhamverse? Like at some point he went back in time because of Zod and became a ninja.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But so yeah, the problem with this is so here's the basic idea. So Batman, Nightwing, Red Robin, and Red Hood arrive at Arkham Asylum, where Gorilla Grodd is attempting to like create like essentially what they think is a bomb, but it turned out to be a time control device, and it goes off, transporting the Bat family and all the and all of Batman's rogues to feudal Japan. And the weird part about this is, all right. Then we get to they get in there, and the stupid part starts when like Joker all of a sudden has like some kind of like he has some kind of fortress that transforms into a robot in feudal Japan.
1 second.
Yeah, I saw that Hunter. It's it's shameful. But anyway, oh, thank you, Tavi. It's a new sweatshirt. But anyway, the thing about it the thing about it that's weird about it is again, how does this technology get? It's not like it's weird how this technology exists or is somehow created in here. Yeah, gotta reference Transformers. Yeah, exactly. I'm a huge anime fan.
Robots in disguise.
Yeah, I know. Batformers. It's definitely Batformers. So the way they do that is that Batman showed up like I think a year or two after everything. Like he came in afterwards, and like I think it was like a year or so that the Bat family was in Japan before Batman arrived. And the funny part about it is like, so he gets there, and I like how like, so he rendezvous with Catwoman, and then he essentially becomes a ninja. Here's the problem with this movie. The marketing made it sound like that this was going to be essentially like a Elseworlds, where what if instead of what if Batman was created in feudal Japan? That's what the marketing was originally. But then we get this.
But you know what's so cool about this film, though? the animation style, right?
Yeah, I'll
It,
give you that. That is really cool.
it really goes well with the style, like considering the fact we're getting a sequel to this, it's like yes, I'm really looking forward to the sequel. We got Roger Craig Smith playing Batman again, and considering he's been talking about Batman a lot in Comic Con events and whatnot, um, it got me thinking. All right, what if we got a trailer by the end of the year?
For the new one,
Yeah,
that would be interesting, I suppose. And Pika brings up a funny thing. Damien is written completely out of character for this, and I agree with him because it's like he has a monkey, and the monkey will come in later.
monkey coming later.
That will definitely come in later. Just yeah. We're actually, you know what? Screw it. We'll get to that. So the final battle back. So first, the final battle starts with Robin gets this magical flute, which he essentially becomes the monkey whisperer, plays it. All of a sudden, the monkeys form like this giant monkey that fights Joker's Megazord, essentially. Then the monkeys combine with bats, and it turns into a giant Batman.
It's the giant Batman versus the Megazord.
And I'm like, what the hell am I watching here?
It's like an anime version of Power Rangers, and it got me excited.
Although it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I'm so sorry, but too much was going on the screen. I lost interest in the middle and didn't finish watching it. Fair enough, Brown. Fair enough. Yeah. But it's like all the mech things was odd. But I did like some of the stuff. Like I liked a lot of the anime designs for the Bat family. And I did like Batman's actual ninja costume before he when he changed the costume. So I thought that was kind of cool. You got it backwards. The flute was Grodd's. Okay.
Yeah.
Also, WTF was Grodd chosen as the other main bad guy, and he was voiced by as Dio. I don't know what that was. The mech stuff I thought was awesome. It doesn't make any sense, Tavia. Quarrel says the character splash that made it look like Street Fighter characters. Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was kind of cool. They have all the different panels of all the different Zord users or Power Rangers was kind of cool.
Yeah.
But again, my problem with this movie is that too much really, really, really unbelievable stuff happens for this period because say what you want about Batman, they most of the time try and keep him pretty grounded. But then with this movie, they throw it right out the window. Not only is he sent back in time, but monkeys combine with bats and form Batman.
How about the fact that the Batmobile turns into a Bane mech suit to take on Bane?
Oh yeah, Bane is a sumo wrestler, and he fights it's like Mecha Batman, and I'm like, what? When has it ever been able to do this?
It's ninja. Remember, this is what
it's
ninja.
It's really weird. That's the thing about this,
and it makes it so cool.
Okay, I guess I did like Deathstroke. How his is like a tank. So I'm like, okay, you're getting some stuff right, but I don't know. It was a mess of tones and concepts. Let's try and do Japanese media tropes at once and silly and overwhelming. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I fell on this. Batman Child of Dreams deserved to be adapted more than this movie in the upcoming Suicide Squad Isekai movie. I've never read Child of Dreams. Question, how do you guys feel about Red Hood? I like the Red Hood, particularly like where he hunts down Joker and Harley after they are like memories are wiped. And I like the art style. I wish the entire movie was that art style. Because don't get me wrong, I kind of like the 3D animation, but there are times where it's really unsettling. It's kind of weird. A Comics League. What if Batman Ninja animated from? Yeah, that could work. It's just, again, it's like I'm just not a fan of the 3D animation style that they went with here because it feels really stiff. I'll give it that. And I get what they're going for. It's just when you see it next to actual animation, because that's what they did, they kind of merged it a little bit with like 2D animation. The 2D animation looks great. The 3D animation looks stiff as hell.
Imagine if it's connected to the Batman Arkham games. Just
Oh
saying.
God.
Right.
So not only is Suicide Squad connected to this, but this is it doesn't have to make sense. Just an anime studio using imagery of Batman for fun, over-the-top romp. Don't overthink it. Just enjoy the fun imaginary fights. True. But it's a certain point where they lose me on that. You know what would be a good Elseworlds? Bruce Wayne, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Yeah, that would have been cool. The Amalgam comic where he's basically Nick Fury. That could have actually been a pretty good amalgam thing. They should make a lot of animated movies based on those amalgams, like Dark Claw, Super Soldier, and the like. That would have been actually really cool for them to try that out. So the other thing I'm going to say about this movie is, so Brown is right. There is some stuff to like about it, like the Harley Quinn versus Catwoman fight. I like Catwoman's like design. I liked how it's still played by Grey DeLuise, so I'm like, yes, thank you.
Who played Catwoman in the Arkham games? Fun fact.
Yeah, a lot of it is just the Arkham cast, which I enjoyed. And the action scenes were cool. The animation, the colors, the splash pages, everything was really cool. Style-wise, for the most part, this movie actually did really well. It's just there are certain parts of it where it takes me out of it. It's funny. We technically got a Batman anime called Batman Gotham Knights. Yeah, that was better. And apparently, it may or may not be, but I've heard that is canon to the Nolan verse.
Yeah, I heard the same too.
Which is, I guess, interesting, I guess. But yeah, that was way better. We may cover that on Comics League one day for that. But that was actually a really cool thing. Harley was voiced by Ray. I'm not giving pronounce it, aka Alphonse Eric from Full Metal Alchemist. Oh, cool.
I think he's talking about the Japanese voice, not the British.
Yeah, we're talking about the English voice cast, Pika, since we watched the dub version. Kind of short, but Kevin Conroy voiced Batman in this movie. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't. It was
Roger didn't. That was Roger Craig Smith.
It was Roger Craig Smith.
Here, I'll look that up as well. IMDb Batman Ninja.
Because he actually retweeted about the sequel to the film. Roger Craig Smith did.
So I think that answers my question of if he's going to be in the movie. Let me see.
He meant Gotham Knights movie. Yes. Kevin Conroy.
Oh yeah, he was that in that. Yeah, exactly. He was that. Jared, have you read the Japanese version of Spider-Man comics? It might be a good animated movie based on the comics. That would be pretty interesting. Silly Girl says it didn't see this, but thought of anime Batman sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds cool. Here's the thing about this. Anime Batman sounds cool. It's just you have to properly execute on this idea, which to a degree, I get it. They did do some cool stuff with this movie. Don't get me wrong. I didn't hate this. It's just there were certain parts of it where I'm like, okay, you lost me. Have you heard of Netflix AI? Oh yeah, so it's a lot. I don't know if you heard about this, but Netflix is gonna launch a streaming service where you can like make your own like AI prompted like pilot episodes. So Britt and I are thinking of doing Super Wonder stuff.
Oh boy,
that would be great. We're gonna do DC's job for them. I thought this movie was fun, but it was stupid at certain points. Yeah, exactly. I can faintly praise the subbed version by recommending its cast view. But here's the thing: I don't know any of those people, so that kind of doesn't help.
It doesn't help us, Pika, because we're covering the dub version, not the sub version.
And I don't know any of the voice actors that did that, so.
And if we were gonna cover the sub version, we would have said covering the sub.
But overall, I like their choices of villains, like Jared, not just Superman, but also a Justice League movie. Yep. I'm gonna be playing around with that. That's gonna be really fun. So I like their choice of villains with Deathstroke, Two-Face, Poison Ivy. And again, I did like how each of their like fortresses / castles are themed according to their villain. Just they lost me when it combines into a Megazord like this. Here is the design for the Batman Rogazord, as I'm calling it. Not bad. It looks pretty cool. I'll give it that. It's just it's a lot of it's interesting. Let me put it that way. Comics League will cost of actor goes up in $1 billion. Okay, let's see what else. Give me a Superman anime movie. That would be cool. You could definitely play around with Superman as an anime. I mean, here's the thing though, Tevia. Here's what people have to understand about Superman. His brand is not as strong as other characters. You can't apply all of this stuff. You can't apply what works for Batman to Superman because the brand for Batman is in such a way that you can do other stuff, that you can do all this crazy stuff with Batman. That's the thing. I get that you want an anime Superman, and to a degree, that sounds like a good idea. It's just in certain way. It's just you have to think about it. Do you trust DC to properly execute that? Yeah. So yes, exactly. Similar to the Wonder Woman brand. That's why we don't get like Superman. That's one of the reasons why we don't get a Superman game. It's because in addition to like the perceived difficulty of making a Superman game a challenge, it's also that his brand is not as strong. And going back to and DC's need to constantly go back to Christopher Reeve is not helping. Is My Adventure Superman anime? Kind of. Yeah, it is kind of. Except it's like the most stereotypical version of anime like ever. Wasn't there a recent anime Justice League crossover movie? In fact, there were two. That was Ruby, Justice League Ruby. And I'm not sure if Ruby counts as anime. I really enjoyed this movie. Everything that's not to be taken seriously, just fun. Okay, that is true. From a visual perspective, like in terms of the art of like animation stuff, it does look pretty. I'll give it that. The action is pretty cool. Yeah, detach your brain. It's a fun movie. I'll give Dave that. I'll give Dave that. That's heavy. I mean, so Taladia, let me ask you this: what do you think is the worst animated DC movie?
The worst animated anime film?
It's probably The Death of Superman. Because of how much that tries to throw out lazily.
If you're talking about animated film, the Dikamu version of Death of Superman, yeah, definitely.
It's either that. I didn't hate Reign of the Superman as much as Death. I also hated the Wonder Woman Bloodlines movie. That was one of the worst in the Dikamu. That was one of the worst of those movies. And fun fact, it performed the worst in terms of box office. I know it's not box office, but it's like essentially like DVD returns. Let me put it to you that way. It sucked. They even downgraded the Dikamu art style because they were going really cheap with it. They again pushed Steve Trevor too much, and it's like, nah. How do you feel? I like the Deathstroke in this movie because he looks like Deathstroke. That is the difference. What I would have loved if they picked these character designs, because actually Deathstroke is a samurai. That looks really cool. Dave says Batman's Son was a weak version of that story. I like Batman versus Robin though. Yeah, that was cool, and it was basically the Court of Owls, and I liked how they brought in Damien. That was cool. Batman Harley Quinn is the worst. I also drank too much while watching it. Yeah, worse. Okay. And yeah, I didn't like, yeah, it was disappointing. For Wonder Woman getting her own thing, it was really, really bad. Yeah. Now, what do you think is the best DC animated movie, Taladia?
For me, the best DC animated film is Justice League War.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. It's straight up comic to screen. That movie is straight up comic to screen. I was very surprised at how close to the comic it got. Even though they swapped out Aquaman and Shazam, which to a certain degree makes sense because if they were going to do Throne of Atlantis, they wanted to make that his origin movie. I would have liked it better if they had Aquaman in the Justice League, but I get what they're going for.
I would have done it. I would have done a two-parter. I would have done Justice League Part 1 and then Part 2, right? So
but there's not that much story that you could put in a Part 1 and Part 2, though.
So Part 1 is obviously the Justice League forming, and then Part 2 is Throne of Atlantis straight away.
Then how about just make a separate Throne of Atlantis movie in that case?
True, but it's in my logic, right? This way, you don't need to worry about how long it'll take before they get Aquaman into the fold, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give it that. Batman Harley Quinn tried to be a fun parody, but none of the humor landed. Just cringe. Yeah, exactly.
Oh no! Please don't remind me of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the worst. And I watched it, and I'm like, okay, I get what they're going for, but it's not good. I'm just like, stop it. And the fact that they put Nightwing with Harley Quinn is just insulting. The things I do for my city.
Nightwing with Harley Quinn.
Story by Bruce Timm. No wonder it's cringe as hell. Doesn't that explain a lot?
Bruce Timm.
Doesn't that explain a lot? Yeah. Super Wonder did not get its fair shake. From what it got, I liked. Oh, Apocalypse War and Constantine's City of Demons are excellent. The New Frontier too. Yeah, New Frontier is great. Apocalypse War is badass. And I didn't see Constantine's City of Demons. I saw the short that takes place after Apocalypse War, though. That was good. I'm in the minority, but I hated Apocalypse War. Okay, fair enough. Now, Talani, let me ask you this. What DC animated movie haven't they done yet? Let me put the addendum in here. That would sell. Would you like to see? It has to actually sell. What do you think?
Talking to me?
Yeah, of course. I said to Ladia.
I was having a connection issue. Sorry. So.
All right. So, what DC animated movie has not been made yet that would sell? Would you like to see?
Superman, Wonder Woman.
Yep, that'll be actually good. Superman, American Alien's a good one. Forever Evil's a good one. I definitely like that one. And yeah, Superman, Wonder Woman fighting Zod and Feora, just basically adapt that. Blackest Night would work, Tevia. That's a good one. Did you hear the insider reports of Bruce Timm calling DC fans racist? See, here's the problem with that. Here's the problem with that. It's coming from Doomcock, and he's not exactly the most reliable information, as much as I would love to blast Bruce Timm. If that's true, though, what? If we're talking about racist, how about the way you portrayed Wonder Woman, dude? Look in a mirror. But Wonder Woman League of One is great, where it's basically the Tower of Babel, but with, the Dark Knight Master Race. Yes! Where's the Kryptonians? And this is Superman Wonder Woman, Talati. It's based on the third Frank Miller Dark Knight book.
That is spicy.
Yeah.
Too spicy.
If I were in charge, Peacemaker would be thrown to the garbage can where he belongs. Kingdom Come, yes. There you go. That's a good one. I would definitely love that. Make it all dark and stuff. But would you put it past Bruce Timm? Actually, no. That's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm very divided on that because, yeah, I don't trust Doomcock, but I would love to blast Bruce Timm. But in the interest of fairness, until I get a more reliable source on him saying that, I'm not going to buy that.
Superman Secret Origin?
That's a good one. You could definitely roll with that. We got Brainiac. That's Superman Unchained, I think is the movie's name.
Yeah, Superman Unbound, yeah.
Yeah, wait, no, you don't need that, Tavia. You really don't. You can skip that. Cosmic Armor, Superman Story, and Superman Beyond. That's good. A trilogy of Green Lantern. Yes. Jeff Johns' Green Lantern. Yes. Rebirth, Sinestro Corps War, and Blackest Night would be badass. That would be everything I would ever want. Infinite Crisis. That one you kind of need to set up more, Tevia.
But Tevia, they are doing Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, that's part 3. That's basically what they're doing. They can't do Infinite Crisis because that is like, that requires too much setup than they would realistically be able to put in there.
Superman Doomed.
Didn't they do that? Oh, you mean the new 52 story? That's what they should have done for Death of Frickin' Superman. That's what they and Lois Lane can play a role in that because she gets turned into a Brainiac drone. There you go. See, I'm fixing all of DC's problems, and it would have fit in that continuity of DC. Jeez. James Tucker, if you ever come on my show, I have words for you, sir. I think Green Lantern First Flight tried to be a Sinestro Corps prequel and failed. A little bit, yeah. You can't do Flash 1 Minute War because that requires setup. Tevia. Yeah, really what I'm talking about is movies that you could really like just do as one-offs and not require a lot of setup, unless it's in the Dekamu, as in the case of Superman Doomed, because then you could just throw that out there and be done.
See, Superman Secret Origin could be like a prequel to Superman Unbound, which is like over a decade old now. So
yeah. What you could do for Doomed is do it so part 1 is up until he tears Doomsday in half.
Yeah.
I would do this as a trilogy. Part 2 is him struggling with the Doomsday virus, that whole part of the story. Part 3 is the Brainiac invasion.
Nice.
So that way you make sure you cover all of those parts, because I don't want to cut out any of that because it's all really badass. And I love that part.
And then you retcon the Dekamu then and say this is canon.
Canon. Yes, exactly. Thank you. Jared, story of Martian Manhunter storyline in the 1998 comic run where he first met Batman as John Jones and came to Gotham to investigate. Yeah, that would have been cool. Martian Manhunter animated movie. I'm surprised they never did that because I think that would be really cool. That would be really cool. I got something. How about Superman Last Son of Krypton storyline with Chris Kent? You could, but I know you want Superman to have a son, Tavia, but the Zod thing can be interesting. But again, would that sell? You can't do as much stuff with Superman as you can with Batman unless it's like heavily bombastic.
And you can't do much with Super Son either. Just putting that out there, Tavia, before you even say it.
Mm-hmm. Green Lantern Beware My Power works as a prequel to Rebirth. Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of. Because it deals with like the core being wiped out by Parallax, then you can have him resurrect the core. That's not a bad idea. If they wanted to continue the DC, the Tomorrowverse, that's the way I would do it, particularly with Green Lantern. Dark Knight's Metal would be awesome. But again, I said movies that don't require that much setup.
Darkseid War would be cool.
Darkseid War they could do in the Dekamu because they set that up because that's the new 52 Justice League run. You could do that.
Because they never tackled it, you see, and it would be very interesting to see how they would do the death of Superman. And then
here's how they do it. Don't do it. Don't actually kill new 52 Superman because no one wants that.
Yeah.
It's really that simple. But in terms of like, a Darkseid War requires Gray on the Anti-Monitor. Not necessarily. I mean, you could always just like have the Anti-Monitor just show up because that's kind of what he did in the Dekamu. Here's what you could do. What you just do is tease Grail and the Anti-Monitor in a post-credit scene and then bring them in the next movie. Because that's kind of what they did. Because at the end of Forever Evil, it's Superman going, Darkseid is going to come and invade again. And then it cuts 2 or 3 with the Anti-Monitor attacking, or 3, and then you see Grail there. So that's the way they could really do that. They don't really need to like do a Grail and Anti-War movie. No storyline requires too much step as long as they alter the story to be standalone. That is true. As long as you don't, but when you alter the story, I'm going off of stuff that you have to alter the least. That's the thing. the least, because you could, because all of the setup that you would possibly need for Darkseid War is a post-credit scene. That's it. That's literally it. And you can, and the one thing I would have changed: go to war and retcon that Wonder Woman asked Darkseid why he was coming, and he goes, "I'm coming for her." Because Taladia, spoiler alert, in the Jeff Johns Justice League run, that's what Darkseid's referring to.
I just had the thought.
What?
A crossover film between not Darkseid, Superman and Aliens animated film.
Oh, that's excellent. They did a graphic novel on that may or may not be in continuity. That requires zero setup. Excellent pick. And that would actually be really cool. Because they could really play with that. Go ahead.
Would you believe that was my first ever comic I read at school?
Superman Aliens? That's awesome. I love that book.
It was my first ever comic that I read at school when I was young, very young and stupid.
Yeah. Okay, in terms of Nightfall, Pika brings up a good point. Nightfall would require a lot of stuff to be cut in adapting it. Like what I would do is just have Bane show up and then show him breaking Batman's villains out of Arkham, show a montage of Batman retrieving them and then being like tired, and then Batman and then it breaks his back. And then movie 2 can be the rest of it. You don't really need like 3 movies. Batman versus Predator. That's an excellent option. Hell yes. I love that one. I got an idea. How about Justice League Avengers? If you can make that work, I'm down for that.
But you need to set that up though.
No, you don't.
Yeah, but the Avengers crossing over with Justice League.
No, you could just do that in the one movie. That's what they did in the comics.
Oh, okay.
Just adapt the comic. The JSA, Thy Kingdom Come, all 3 parts. Yeah, what you could do with Thy Kingdom Come, because I think that's a sequel to actual Kingdom Come, make that like the sequel to a Kingdom Come animated movie, because that way you don't like, what is this? What is this? So you could go with that.
So I think, do you mind if we talk about something else besides?
Yeah. So all in all, so real quick, let's rate this movie out of 10. I give it, for entertainment value, I give it a 7 or an 8. For story, I give it like a 5. But in terms of like I'm entertained watching this, 7 or an 8 out of 10. How about you? Definitely
an 8.5 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. Don't get me wrong. I know I was hard on it, but let me put it this way: I enjoy watching it, and that's the way I rate items. Did I enjoy watching or playing it?
And for me, it's like I enjoy it, and I know one of my friends loves this film. Tavia, you know who I'm on about? Jay Shock Blast, right? He loves this film, and he's really excited for the sequel for it. So he would give this an
interesting option. The Squadron Supreme versus the Justice League versus the Viltrumites. So it's Justice League versus Viltrumites. Nice. I like that one. So let's go to a standard.
Just once before we switch.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to bring this up. One of my friends actually is trying to pitch a Batman Ninja video game.
Ooh.
A full-blown Batman Ninja video game.
Oh, that could be cool.
He's been trying to pitch it to Warner Brothers for such a long time.
Ooh, that could actually be really cool. Wow. I would play that. All right. So let's do a standard Q&A. You guys can ask us anything you want about pretty much anything. It doesn't have to be Batman Ninja related. Just ask us any questions you guys have. Any questions you have for Taladia about DC gaming. Any questions you have for us about Super Wonder. Let's hear it. Any questions? Other than DC animated movies we wanna do. For a Superman anime to work, it needs to be like Dragon Ball Z and less My Adventures. Yes, exactly. And they need to hire someone that actually is competent at designing characters. Because I'm sorry, every time they announce a new character showing up, I dread seeing the character design. It just looks bad.
Yeah, it does look
But
bad for
mhm.
for Suicide Squad, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and even with is Zack Snyder really back? Okay, so the way this is working, it's not a rumor. So they're making a 300 prequel series, and they're in talks with Zack Snyder to direct it. So it's not like it's not a sure thing, but I'm saying it's likely to happen. And if it does happen, this is big that he's back at Warner Brothers, because you literally just eliminated one of the largest barriers to him completing his Justice League saga. Just like that, you eliminated it. Question: DC characters do you want for anime shows? Green Lantern, probably. I would want another Green Lantern. What are your expectations for the Batman the Caped Crusader?
Ooh, that's hard.
There's not enough out. I need to see a trailer first, Dave, before I
Yeah.
can really make a judgment on that. Based upon, let me put it this way, I'm excited for some things, like the time period they're putting Batman in. In terms of the character designs, again, of like going against what would realistically be that way in history, I'm a little iffy on that. That's it. Actually, what about you, Taladia?
I would say for me, I would have to wait and see till Cape Crusader shows off a teaser trailer or an actual trailer for that for me to judge it. But I can't base it on images yet.
Let's see. When do you think we'll see the M-rated Shadow the Hedgehog clips? Oh yeah, did you hear this? So it's like you know there was a Shadow the Hedgehog game, right?
Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube.
So they actually have deleted stuff where Shadow dropped the F-bomb.
I don't think
I kind of want an M-rated Shadow game. That'd be really cool.
I don't think we're gonna get an M-rated clip though for Shadow because
leaks.
No, Jared. Remember, this is Paramount, and they panded to kids.
No, what I mean, no, it's not. It's clips from the Shadow the Hedgehog game that came out a while ago.
Oh, yeah. If you're talking about the anime movie though from Sonic 3,
the movie is not going to be no, absolutely not. But I'm just saying, in terms of like they could leak the original clips from the game of Shadow dropping the F-bomb, that'd be great. Imagine a Shadow game that had like blood and gore and stuff. That would be great. What are your hopes for this DC Ultimate Universe? That they manage to make decisions that differentiate it from the main continuity. Now, I do know some behind-the-scenes information. I can't say it now because I was asked not to, but they're going the right direction. Let me put it to you that way, in terms of making it different. That's all I'm going to say. Now, can they execute on that potential? I'm not sure. This is DC we're talking about. In terms of Suicide Squad Isekai, I'm not really that like.
No, I'm not excited for that. I'm sorry, I'm not really excited for that.
I'll watch it. What when it's on Max? How's that? Is the Batman 2 canceled? That's a good question because it keeps getting out of delay. This way. Actually, I think it's going to depend on how the Penguin show does.
At the moment, it's not cancelled because of two things. Because A, you're in a locked contract with Matt Reeves to do a three film contract, and B, you know that Matt Reeves isn't going to bunk out of it because if they cancel it, he can sue Warner Brothers for it, for basically breach of contract.
They can buy him out of it and just say we're not going to be able to do this. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's still too late on that. Hunter, which comment are you referring to? I'm going to put that. Yeah, go ahead.
He says Comics League versus Comic League versus Comic League Filtramat versus Injustice Comics League.
I mean, interesting. Oh, if the Ultimate Universe became the main timeline. Ooh, that's okay. That would be interesting because what they could do, if this sells well, they may decide, let's try and make this the main continuity. And can you imagine if they put Superman and Wonder Woman together in the Ultimate Universe and then nuke
I'm buying the
one?
books. I'm buying the books if that
I'm
comes out.
I'm buying the books as soon as like they announce as soon as they make that announcement. By the way, Ed Brubaker is the lead writer, is a good thing, but J.J. Abrams is a red flag. Bruce Timm doesn't inspire confidence these days either. Yeah, so that's why I'm back and forth on it, and I need more information because, yeah, I trust Ed Brubaker. He's a good writer. J.J. Abrams and Bruce Timm, though,
Not so much. Yeah.
the art style of Creature Commandos looks interesting, but Harley's design and what they're saying will be her personality throws me off. It's just not Harley. Yeah, exactly, Nix. How much do you rate James Gunn's Supergirl movie original comics? Oh, in terms of like Woman of Tomorrow, I mean, it's enjoyable if you take it as an Elseworlds. The problem with it is that it turns Supergirl into a drunk, swearing like a sailor character, and that's not Supergirl. Big surprise, it's written by Tom King. Batman Ninja. Okay, we've moved on from Batman Ninja. A question: whether DC characters similar to Batman. We already talked about that. We talked about that. I've heard that the Ultimate Universe is a spin-off from the 90s Zero Hour event. That might be why they're doing a lot of Zero Hour stuff this year. Could be. It would be interesting, but I don't know. That's interesting. Would they go with zero? Because it's a lot of Zero Hour was the idea that after Crisis, they took out the multiverse, but they still wanted to have Elseworlds. So they kind of said, oh, it's an alternate timeline. But that got convoluted. So they were like, let's do 0 Hour Crisis in Time, which is a crisis, but for time. It's a time crisis.
Bit confusing for me.
Yeah. Isn't that Supergirl coming? It's basically True Grit. It's basically that. Exactly.
Yeah.
All-Star
okay.
Universe game possible.
I can answer this one.
Go ahead.
I'm the gaming expert here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the All-Star universe will be a little bit complex for video game. Because if you're going to do All-Star Superman, nobody really wants to see the death of Superman. Right?
And that Superman like ridiculously powerful, and that takes that gets into, is it challenging enough?
Yeah, you don't really want to have like an all-powerful Superman game, and you don't want to have an all-powerful a Batman game where it's Dick Grayson instead of Bruce Wayne. You'll have people complain. So it's like you really can't tackle the All-Star universe in a video game format. Instead, you could do like an Earth 1 or New 52 type of introduction into a video game world. I think that would be far more better off if they did that than doing an All-Star universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Now, all right. So what other questions do you all have for us?
Yeah, if you got any questions about video games, the upcoming Summer Game Fest, you guys want to ask me, feel free to ask me now. Or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, a question: what DC characters should have their own games? Justice League game is one thing, Tavia. I would go for, again, I've said this for a long time, a Green Lantern RPG, but the morality system is depending on how like dark you go, that determines your Lantern Corps that you end up with.
For me, it's obviously Superman, as you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that would work. I would love to see a Justice League game, but I would do a Justice League game similar to
Warworld Saga animated movie and game. That would be fun.
No. I mean, for a Justice League game though, I would do similar to what we got with
Ultimate Alliance.
Maybe Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah, you could. I've always felt that they should, because they tried that with Justice League Heroes. The problem with that is that they took away like the fun part of it, where like you could make your own teams at any point in the game. Oh, a game focused on the new gods, like where you play as Darkseid and you're conquering worlds. That would be cool.
It would be cool, but it's not impactful. That's the problem.
It wouldn't sell, I'll give you that. But in terms of like cool idea, yeah, I would so go for that. JLA versus Avengers, yes. Green Lantern, yeah, exactly. That's my point. It's like that. Any predictions for Summer Game Fest? Taladia, that's you.
Okay, so I was gonna have my video out, but I might as well just do it here because my video got corrupted
Oh,
Rip the dream.
jeez.
So my prediction is that for DC Gaming, I think we are going to get the Wonder Woman game there. I think that is going to be a likely chance. We're going to get a gameplay, mixed gameplay with cinematic trailer with a release window for that. I also believe we're going to get more stuff with multiverses, and I also think for DC Gaming, possibly they'll unveil the Suicide Squad Killer Justice League next DLC character, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would also expect that. In terms of Marvel games, Marvel 1943, definitely that might be a case scenario that we possibly could see something there. And I'd also say Marvel Rivals, like they showed something for summer. I mean, just before Summer Game Fest for the console stuff, but I would love to see them, basically reiterating the fact that it's coming to consoles. So
Exactly. I wonder if they'll announce Injustice 3. Probably not.
no, not yet. It's too soon for that.
Hunter, retype and send the comments so I can find it. Tevi says, any opinion on Furiosa bombing? Here's why. They made a movie about an already niche IP, Mad Max, then made it about a niche character within that niche IP. That's why it bombed.
And that's not the only film that bombed.
Go ahead.
Garfield bombed too.
Oh yeah. Well, again, a lot of this stuff, I'm like, you can't. Oh, why a Superman comics animated movie? Young adult? I mean, you could, but I think you kind of, for DC, they have to be able to like cast the net for the largest pool of viewers, because DC has had the problem since Warner Brothers royally screwed up the movies, that the general appeal kind of sees DC as lame right now. And it's not really working. Opinions on the new Star Wars series? You mean Acolyte? I haven't watched it yet, but I plan to. No. I'll give you my opinion when I watch it.
I haven't seen it yet either. But yeah, I'll say this.
And by real quick, Taladia, Pika has the questions for you. Taladia, have you heard about when the Wonder Woman game is set in? Right after she has arrived in man's world, or after she has lived in man's world for some time?
So what I do know is that this game she's gone back to Themyscira. So I would recommend after she's been to man's world. So the game set is basically set in Themyscira. It's not going to be in anywhere else, right? It says that in the bio. If you read the bio for the game, that it's in Themyscira. You gotta go back there. You gotta find your roots and whatnot. For Wonder Woman, but I'd also say this though, like the Wonder Woman game, like, is probably gonna be according to our good buddy, right? I'm not gonna mention his name. He thinks that the game could be coming out at the end of this year, possibly.
And by the way, Hunter asked, what if Brainiac, the city that Supergirl comes from, became another part of a USA state?
Argo City.
If Argo became part of the US, that would be interesting. Now, that's an interesting story you could do with Superman. There you go. You see, that's something that, as far as I know, hasn't been done to that extent before. And then all of a sudden you have Kryptonians with Superman powers. That's actually really cool, Hunter. I love that. Garfield has never had success outside the comics. Yeah, exactly. Opinion on X-Men 97 being a success. Do you believe in terms of like, I think it helps the case for them reviving like Spider-Man, maybe Iron Man, because of how popular X-Men was. Now it's most likely that Spider-Man will get a revival, because that show, like X-Men, had a established fan base, plus a Spider-Man. So if you make anything Spider-Man, you are printing cash. That's essentially what you're doing. And Randy sums up my point. I'm for any Superman comic that limits Lois Lane's involvement. That is an excellent point. And to that, I present to you a man. And I'm not a Dragon Ball channel, so I can't really weigh in on that.
If you want to ask Dragon Ball questions, the best person to ask would be Jay Heat and myself, but we won't do it on here.
Why isn't Marvel making an X-Men Uncanny animated movie based in the early 2000s? Because they hate cash. That's why. That's 100% why. So I think that's a good place to leave it. So, interesting movie, and we will see what happens next week. Next week we'll be covering the Carl Urban Dread movie, so be on the lookout for that. In terms of Super Wonder Legacy, Britt and I are going to be merging DC with Blood of Zeus, so we'll see what comes from that. And Wednesday, I'm going to be reviewing Yaira issue 1. Under Two Capes, Robert's going to come on the show, and we're going to talk about Frank Miller's effect on DC. So, Taladia, where can everyone find you, and what have you got coming on your channel?
Okay, you can follow me on Twitter at TaladiaPlays_, and on YouTube, you can follow me on or subscribe to my page YouTube at Taladia Plays. For content, tomorrow I'm going to be doing My Adventure with Superman reaction episode number 3 with Jared. And sorry, Jared. But we're gonna have to. It's gonna be really interesting to see what direction to go with this. Also, Snyder Fans Read Comics next Wednesday. That is a thing is happening. And then over on my Twitch page on Thursday or Friday, will be Summer Game Fest live reactions. So expect that to happen, and expect videos left, right, and center when it comes down to like reaction videos that Summer Game Fest, that whatever pops up at Summer Game Fest will be popped on the YouTube page. And also expect some multiverses as well. And if Marvel Rivals get the beta announcement or whatever, people can sign up for the beta. I'll be sure to let you guys know on a video or a post or something, and I'll remind Jared to sign up as well.
Heck yeah. And then last thing I want to do before we leave, be sure to back 2100 Samurai by our friend Nick. And the link should be in the chat right now, or it's in the description below. Just go and back that at any level. DM us and tell us you have, and then we'll give you a shout out on the next show.
Before we go, guys, make sure you guys tune in on Monday stream for Jared's Comic Historians interview. You guys not want to miss that. It's going to be a very interesting interview between Jared and Comic Historian, and I'll be sure to be there in the chat. So if you got any questions, make sure you do ask him really good questions and save them for Monday, because it's for Comic Historian, that is. So it's going to be epic.
Yep, exactly. On Monday at 3:30 EST. So be on the lookout for that. We'll see you later. Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs with General Zod. Zoe is the Max about for life. See you later.